All right, everybody, welcome back to the channel. I told you we'd be seeing you real soon. This is a American Thanksgiving edition of At the Buzzer Season 2, Episode 2. And fittingly, I've called it Thankful for the NBA question mark. But with me, as always, is my partner in crime. He is the bistro of basketball knowledge, the hoopster that is hardcore beyond belief. G, how you doing today, my friend?
Man, I'm doing good, and I'm feeling like that's such an excellent compliment, but also maybe inappropriate because I haven't seen White Man Can't Jump. We were just talking about the classic film with Wesley Snipes and Woody Harrelson, and I can't believe I haven't seen it. How am I going to be the bistro without seeing that? We might have to cut this short so I can go on.
He's got some Thanksgiving homework, people. But
Maybe,
happy
yeah.
Thanksgiving to our American friends who might see this. And we'd be so thankful if you just hit the like button and maybe subscribe to the channel. But let's get into it, G. It's another week of At the Buzzer.
Hmm.
What
Hmm.
are your thoughts on the current situation in the association?
I'm going to start with an at the buzzer moment that I think could be a good topic to kick things off with. And it's Alfred Şengün from the Houston Rockets, who at the end of the game yesterday in overtime hit one over Rudy Gobert, and he gives him the too small running down the floor.
Dude, I hate that. That's the worst.
But it was on Gobert, so it had a special kind of, and it
It
was
had
for
a
the win.
connection to it. Yeah.
And it was a buzzer beater, and Freddie was right in the middle of it, just giving him, it was a big moment for this young guy who's on his first year of the big contract. So it's not like he's going down after getting his money, right? Which we could, anyways, not
Which we
talk about
talked
that.
about
But on the
last week,
positive
if I'm not
side,
mistaken.
yeah, just referencing that. Uh, Şengün, man, he was killing it, and I love at the buzzer moments to jump off with. It's some of the most exciting things in sports. I realized, I'm like, we have the best name for our podcast because those are some of the most memorable, if not most memorable moments of sports history is at the buzzer. So seeing him do that and rip the heart out of the struggling Timberwolves was a really interesting game that I think reflected a lot on the Rockets, who are third, and the Timberwolves, who are not third. And Rockets are going to be an interesting team to watch, man. They're my most exciting thing of basketball sort of teams and dynamics going on right now because they were kind of fringe. They weren't even in the play-in, and now they're like, I wouldn't want to play them, man. They got guys that are like Jabari Smith hitting threes that if he's hitting the ones like he's hitting, it's a team of dogs, and who doesn't love that? So they're my jump
That
off for the
that's
week.
the thing. That's the thing. We love dogs because they just go out and hoop. And
That's
we
it,
had a
and they're
big
my dogs of the week, man.
we had a big discussion about that last week as well. So it's tying in rather nicely here at the beginning of the podcast. And you know how
Call
much
me the
love I got
Bistro.
for Freddie. You know how much
Yo,
love I
it's
got
so
for
great to
Freddie.
see him doing well. He's in a perfect role. Like, yeah, he landed on the right spot. Houston's a great city that supports their team when they're doing well and on the ups. And what a fun, young, dynamic team that I'd love to see more of. Coached well too.
And an underrated pickup, and I know people are gonna throw shade at me for mentioning this in the comments, but the fact that they got Ume Udoka from the Boston Celtics, I think really helps that young, energetic team because he
Man,
got. I won't get into it, but he just got let go for something he did in his personal life. It was against team policy. If you want to know the rest, by all means, go find it for yourself. But that
all you
doesn't
gotta
mean.
know is there's a snitch that needs a stitch.
But there's that doesn't mean the brother can't coach. Is what I'm saying.
No, I think you make a very good point in that he would have been the coach of the dominant dynasty of the 2020s. Like he was picked for that role to be what many were anticipating, like, oh, this team could be the team to beat for the next 5-10 years, and he was chosen to be the coach for that. And then, yeah, some HR business got in the way, and that's quite a big coach to lose. Then he was vetted for probably how long to be the perfect coach for them, and
Longer than Doc
Houston lucked.
Rivers, anyway.
Oh, it was probably longer than any coach has been vetted, man. And for it to come down like that, they obviously didn't do a good enough job. But Houston will take them. They ain't worried about that shit. Fire it up in Houston, man.
Let the dogs run, man.
Yeah,
But,
and they're dynamic. They got Jalen Green, that's like a bouncy MFer, man. He can really jump and make some exciting plays.
On a Bucks note, Dame Dalla has returned to the Bucks lineup and played quite well the other night without Giannis Antetokounmpo. So where does this leave the Bucks now? Is there going to be 1 star in, 1 star out for? I don't know if it was just last night or what the deal is.
You're bringing up the topic. You're bringing up, I think, the most interesting topic that can cross the NBA right now, and it's the superstar tandem model. Is it like the Ford car that's going out of style while something else moves in? Because there's something about this model of the Giannis and Dame, the Durant and Booker and Beal, like it's just stacking so hard that if one guy goes down, what are the Bucks going to do? If Giannis twists his knee again,
because you got to factor Chris Middleton into that, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, they're eating the entire salary. There's no money. Like Gary Trent is probably the next paid, and he's not making more than $10 million. So it's like you got to have those 3 guys firing on all cylinders, and they're lucky if you got one. So they're scraping and they'll fight and fight and fight. But I think this model is proving at its worst, it's Philadelphia. At its best, it's Phoenix right now, which is, hey, they're good, but they know they're living on borrowed time. That's my take, man.
And that's what I said about the Lakers and the Warriors. When they got off to their hot starts, everybody was like, look, JJ's a mastermind. I said, hold on. Let's give the guy 25 games and then see where we're at. Because, it's the old Dennis Green logic. If you want to crown him, then go ahead and crown him. But so many people are given credit so early that is ridiculous. And it's not just a JJ Redick problem. It happens throughout the entire league. Because when your team's on a high, you get excited. And when your team's on a low, you kind of go the other way. So let's be a little bit more even keel about the JJ Redicks, and let's just see what this team.
You gotta be happy with what he's getting out of AD, though. Can you not? Yeah, you gotta be happy with that. That's milk and honey that's been waiting for a long time to be tasted.
I'm happy with that, but look, it's the whole thing of when he doesn't play like that. We lost to Phoenix by 27 last night.
Here's the argument, I guess, is like, can you sustain with this model? Look at Denver, man. They just paid Murray a buttload of money, and he is not playing like he's worth it. God love him, man. He's probably going through some shit right now, right? He's probably going through it, but he ain't playing like a $50 million player, and that's what the model requires, is you to play like that at all times. And so if you're not, your team is so lopsided because you've invested so much in these 2 or 3 guys that if your team ain't like fully bought in, they're not going to carry your weight for you. They're making fucking pennies compared to you. They'll do their job, but they're not going to be like to rise to the fucking Braveheart level. No, for the minimum. No. I don't see that happening.
That would be like me expecting subscribers to contribute videos to the channel. That's not how it works.
Yeah, you got to be. I think when you're making those kind of digits as a NBA player, it's tough as a franchise to swallow that much salary of 2 or 3 guys and not have them be amazing. It just can't happen, really.
Do you think Mr. Beast is looking at my subscription and he's going, I wonder if Mo has any video ideas? No, that's not how it works.
but it'd be like hinging him, like he'd be like hinging his bets on like, well, if Mo doesn't have it, then I'm fucked. Like that's what they're doing in the sense of like placing their value so much in one or two guys that it's like, hey, if they just even quit or just stop playing, you end up with a Ben Simmons thing, and it's like there's no, I don't think there's a good example of the big star model other than Boston maybe, where you could
Yeah,
say
man. I'm just
it's going
telling
to
you,
work in the long term.
even the Lakers have made a change to the way they do things. Look, they used to be.
I mean, when you got AD and LeBron eating 110 a
But
year, it doesn't
but
leave a
look,
whole lot room for anybody else at the dinner table. Imagine it in the form of a dinner. All the
yeah,
food's on the table, and 90% of it goes to two guys, and you got a bunch of dudes around. They're hungry. These are dudes. You know, they're fucking big appetites. You know what I'm saying? They see how much they're getting down at the end of the table, and it's like, really? You get 2 turkeys down there, and we're just left with some bones? Boy, you better be showing up like you're worth the guys eating 2 turkeys every night, because there's only so many
and
times
they
I'm going to be
have
sucking
been
on bones and doing all your
amazingly,
work, right? What's that?
amazingly they have been. But I'm not ready to crown JJ just yet because I haven't seen enough out of this team.
I will say they've got the 2 best nicknames going for the 2 whitest dudes in basketball. AR-15 and Westside Connect. Find me 2 better nicknames right now. It's pretty gangster, man. They got to be stoked
How
about
does the song
that.
go? Bow down if you're from the west. If you ain't from the west side of your town, something like that.
I don't know, man, but I do know Kendrick just released a new track,
It's
so
it's
LA is
not
probably
too
getting
often.
down on
It's
something.
not too often I get to drop Ice Cube on the podcast, but
Oh, gee. Man, it's I think it's tough to watch sometimes seeing the super teams trying to still do it. Like Philadelphia is one of the most sad situations to watch in a long time, of just other than seeing Nick Nurse kind of just fritz at the bits on it. That's pretty funny, but all the rest is just sad. And I think
speaking of
it's due to that model, right? It just ain't working.
speaking of hip hop, and I brought this up last season as well. We should try to convince Roller to do it at the buzzer intro for us. I
That
think
was a
that
killer.
I think that'd be a good idea. So Roller, if you're
Super
listening,
cool.
you drop the at the buzzer intro for us, and that'll let everybody know it's time to hype everybody up for some basketball. So
Man, facts. Hey, think about all the exciting things that we do got going in the league right now. We got the Ja Morant return.
the league
He's
is on
back, baby.
fire. The
Did
league
you
is
see
on
Ja?
fire.
Ooh.
I did see Ja.
One dunk.
I'm
One
not
dunk
gonna
is
make
all
you
it
wait.
took.
I'm not gonna make you wait. That's my dude of the week right there. I'm not gonna make you
That's
wait.
your pick. That's your pick of the year. That, and it's deep into
Usually,
it. We're 11 months in.
usually I'd like to I like to wait to the end of the podcast. I ain't gonna make you wait. Ja is my dude of the week, just simply for the fact that he returned and he's Ja.
Dude,
And
he
people
went
are gonna
horizontal on that dunk. He was Superman.
and I'll tell you, people in the comments will call me a hypocrite because of how much I've been trash talking Ja. But that was for good reason. I'm glad the guy's back on the court, and hopefully he can stay focused on basketball. And I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, man, because I think this is it. You know what he's capable of, and when he's locked in like that, you see the ripple effect around him. What it does to his team is the most scary thing for the league around, because seeing his team fired up and bought in, it's like, oh, they will mess people up. Jared Jackson playing at a all-time clip, and his crew, that changes the game for Memphis in the biggest way if they've got Ja being the best Ja that he can be. So that's one of the most exciting, if not the most exciting thing in basketball right now.
Well,
Eh?
that's what we talked about before the pod, though. Is you only push the people you care about. If you didn't care, you wouldn't push people to their full potential.
That's it, man. That's it. Yeah, we didn't lose faith on Ja. We knew that there was always going to be a bit of him that's going to be still on the street doing that thing, but if he can carry sort of the professional above that, oh man, it was
Uncle
nice to
Shannon's
see. It was nice to see.
Uncle Shannon's got to have a word with Jaw. I think that would be good. Go visit Club Shay Shay. And
Dude, that would be a very interesting interview. I would be super,
I'm
keen on
tuning into that all day long.
Put that into the Matrix. We'd like to see a Ja Morant Shay.
And Uncle Shay, if you're listening to this, please get Ja on Club Shay Shay.
That'd be all-timer. Like, it really changed my perspective on Cat, hearing him on that. It was just a lot of depth to the guy, that it was like, no, man, he means it. He's doing this for the right reasons. It's cool to hear somebody beyond the sound clips and beyond their image, because he's got a bad image.
I will say one thing before we get back to basketball, because we've been kind of pimping Club Shay Shay here, but I go back and I listen to that at least once a month. That Cat Williams interview. Just because.
Sorry. No, we're talking about two cats now. Karl Anthony Towns, but I was talking about Karl Anthony Towns, who was recently on before he got traded to New York. But I forgot the very first thing.
I missed that.
It'll change your view on Karl Anthony Towns. It was right before the New York trade, so it's kind of awkward that it's still on Minnesota, but all the things he's talking about with life are like, it'll change your view on him, like 100%, like just no doubt.
No, and that's the thing. I like Cat too, but he did the structure in Minnesota was all wrong. And I'll go one better.
I don't know if it worked. Go ahead.
I'll go one better. The structure in Minnesota is still all wrong.
They are what's the opposite of the dudes of the week? Because I think that's what they are, the punks. They're the punks of the week, dude. They're the punks of the week.
Because it
could be plural or single, but they are plural this week.
They don't even try to hide their ineptitude, though, the Timberwolves.
Did you see the play that, everybody was talking about, where Julius Randle had the ball dribbling on the outside and Gobert had Scotty Barnes pinned down, just the most wide open post player you've ever seen, and Randle looks at him and just dribbles away. So Gobert just stands in the key so that it would get called a 3-second.
Yeah,
like he just did it on purpose, and then Anthony Edwards starts lighting him up. It's like, ooh, this is a barn burner of a.
Well, you have to be
breakdown.
You can't be salty. You have to be for the team. I know that sounds harsh to hear, but you have to try and push the team forward.
This is it. You got to be willing to sacrifice the team, no matter what stage you're at, no matter what wrongs you've been wronged by.
Rudy was just wrong, okay?
He's a spiteful guy, and I think it comes out. And you know what? He's human. So just like in all of us, we have these moments. His are just on display because he's a basketball player and stuff. But it's definitely like that little kid moment coming out that's just like, oof, yeah, oof.
But remember what I said last week. Sometimes you have to sacrifice your own success in order for your team to win.
Amen. I said that. Well said. Well said. That. You got to be willing to play the tambourine, man.
You've got to be. Look, I'm gonna peel the curtain back here a little bit, if you don't mind.
Hey, take me to see the Wizard.
G has other things going on. I have other things going on.
Maybe.
I'm not gonna throw any of our business out there. But sometimes, excuse me while I die here. Just kidding.
See, our secrets are too potent that the automatic filter.
But what I'm saying is, sometimes G's in a different lab. Sometimes I'm in a different lab. So we have to push the podcast from a Tuesday to a Wednesday, or a Tuesday to a Friday. But we don't get in the way of our individual success because it's better for the team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Minnesota Timberwolves don't have that, and I don't know if it's in Anthony Edwards to be that leader. I think he still needs a guy that can show him how to do that at the highest levels. You know, he might have to figure it out on his own just by trial and error, but he doesn't have that in him yet to mobilize the troops around him in the ways that you need to when you have close games. So they've lost like 3 or 4 close games in a row. It's just like the Mavericks. When your leader, the guy that is got the C on the fucking jersey, can't lead, you have a problem. You have a ceiling
Or
that's not the
doesn't want to
championship,
lead.
right?
Doesn't want to
Doesn't
lead.
want to, or yeah, both not willing or able. Right? For in the case of
because
Luka and Anthony Edwards, it's
because
just
and
true. Prove
I'm sorry,
otherwise, you
Kevin.
know?
I love you, KD. I really do. And I'm gonna say this out loud, and then I'm gonna discredit you at the same time. I think you are, if not the best basketball player, one of the 5 best basketball players in the world, if not the top basketball player in the world. My problem with you, KD, and I don't know if you're going to see this or not, but my problem with you, KD, is when it comes time to be that leader, when it comes time to be the guy to lean on, you ain't it. Because you sit there and you go, I'm just a basketball player. No, you are one of, if not the best player in the world, and your team looks up to you. You, by default, are the leader. And you need to be that. It's not about what you want, KD. You want to know why you have a lack of success since you left Golden State? It's because you had leaders on that team like a Steph Curry and a Klay Thompson. And when it came time for you to be the leader, you didn't want to be that guy, even though by default you're supposed to be that guy. And that's why you're not successful anywhere else where they don't already have proven leadership.
I think it takes a lot for the Yeah, man. Well said. Well said. I think I don't think I can argue with you on that. It's true in a lot of ways that the leadership is either demonstrated or it's not. And he's had the opportunities, can't argue that. He's had the opportunities to be the leader, and he's not. It's been just visible in body language, in the team's success, in the team's uh, communication, and their, just the energy, the vibe, whatever you want to call it. And he's never been that mobilizer of the troops, somebody that had people go into the trenches for the natural hierarchy, not in the sense that, oh, we've chosen him, he's the chosen one. No. It's coming from the natural hierarchy of, oh, this dude just lays it on the line every single day and he's the best player. It's the Kobe thing. It's like, we'll just mobilize around him, not because he's saying to or because anybody's telling us to. It's like the queen bee in the sense. It's like there's just a natural hierarchy that forms when you have somebody that's the clear leader. It's like, hey man, no question, Kobe's the leader. No question, Steph Curry's the unspoken but clear leader through all of that.
And here's the thing. Here's my message to KD. If you really
He's just
don't
a killer
want to
bee, man.
No. Yeah, well, yeah.
Killer D.
But listen to me, KD. If you don't want to be the leader, call one of your buddies and say, "Come play with me in Phoenix."
That's what he tried, right? He thought Devin would be the guy. I think Anthony Edwards would have been, or could be, the better pairing, because there's a big missing piece for Edwards, and I think KD would almost be that filling ingredient. He needs that energy. I think he's got what KD is missing, in the sense of, like, he's going to mobilize the troops. You'll go into the trenches for Edwards if he's doing what he needs to do to put you over the top. But he's not got the assassin like KD ability to just shut down game after game through just ice cold killer. Bang, stop.
You know what?
Bang, shot.
You know what I would have
done, right?
Here's what I would have done. I would have picked up the phone. Hey, CP3, I need you. Come team up with me. I don't need your. No. That's my point. Is I don't need your basketball skill. I need somebody that the boys will follow. That isn't me. That takes the pressure off of me. Because when you walk in there, you ooze leadership. and then I don't have to be the
For
leader.
some.
I can just be KD. I don't need CP3
Yeah.
the basketball player. I need CP3 the leader. That's the angle I'm coming from.
Yeah. I think that would be Anthony Edwards in that way, that like if he's being mentored by a true like professional, that's the piece that's missing for him, is like poise, execution, because I could see people coming into the locker room and he's lighting everybody up, right? He's the funniest guy. He's the most competitive. He's the loudest. He's the things. And KD's the guy that's sitting in the corner, just like, studying plays and kind of just smoking his weed and talking shit.
Yeah.
But he needs that level of professionalism, of dissociating from the bright lights, because when the bright lights hit Anthony Edwards, man, it's weird how non Anthony Edwards he turns into in the most clutch moment of clutch. Whereas nowadays, KD is just ice cold. Like he can close down games, like, but he's not in the leader role because he's too old. He's not the most exciting guy to play with that way. Whereas I think Edwards, Ja, Shea, a lot of these guys, man, are that. It's just, I
I
don't know if
just
Booker's that.
I
Is
wouldn't
Booker
put
that?
Anthony,
I don't think Booker's that.
I wouldn't put Anthony Edwards
I wouldn't
with
go to
KD.
war for Booker. I'd
Here,
go with
here,
Edwards, not Booker. Let's just say that.
here's the thing. I wouldn't put Edwards with KD because I would worry that KD would corrupt Anthony Edwards and they both go downhill. That
I
would
think
be
he's
my
too
worry.
headstrong. That's the thing about Edwards, is he's so that guy, right? He just needs maturity around him. It's like he's got the swagger of MJ and Tom Brady put together. He's got so much confidence, and like he's unshakable. Nothing can corrupt or turn him any other way. What he needs, I think, from just the outside, is people that take their craft more serious than anything else. Just like, oh, you could be more efficient than that by 0.004. You should really work on that. Like that's KD's weirdness to me. I think why he's so successful is he cares so much about the craft more than the dynamic maybe of the leadership, his role, and he's just a true craftsman. And I think Edwards could use a bunch of that. That's what Kyrie, I think, was supposed to bring for Luka in a sense. Hey, can you just show up and be on the court the most professional guy?
And Kyrie's done a better
Luka's
job than
not
KD.
interested. I mean, I don't know. Luka hasn't changed one bit. It's like Kyrie's influence hasn't rubbed off on Luka that way. Kyrie
Because
looks
you
good.
don't
He
trust
looks
Kyrie.
well. Kyrie, no, it's just like we talked about maybe last week, was just that he's redundant a little bit, right? He's not complimentary to Luka, I don't think, and all that they benched Luka for the last week or two here after that defensive display where he was staring off into the crowd and at the last moment of the game.
I don't get that, dude.
I think, yeah, he needed a week off or whatever because he's mentally was clearly not there.
Do you think
For
it was the
whatever
right
reason.
idea for the league to take Thanksgiving night off in the association?
I don't know if I can predict or make any sense of anything the league does. We haven't even talked about the All-Star game and the potential, maybe the new format, or is the new format. Don't really care, but I think that's maybe it's not even a more interesting topic than some of the other things that are going on right now, right?
Well, I'm just saying, look, the NFL has 3 games scheduled, and the NHL and the NBA have both gotten out of the way of the NFL. Is it a wise move to give the stage of Thanksgiving to the NFL all by itself?
Yeah, I don't think so. I'm thinking they have some reasoning behind it, that there's no way they're turning down money, right? There's got to be something that they were pushed out of, right? Or the players negotiated themselves.
Could
Which,
be.
when you think about it here, man, think about this. All-Star break, they get essentially a week off. Getting a little break here. There's going to be a break when the in-season tournament has its game in Vegas. The amount
Oh,
of little breaks, plus your 5 games, let's say minimum, that you're going to take just as personal days because any NBA player can. I think there's a risk, no matter how amazing the NBA could be, people get pissed off about that. Even just thinking about that, I'm like, man, it's such a weird vibe sometimes with the NBA. Sometimes it's so good, you're seeing the best of the best, and then sometimes you're seeing teams just mail it in such a brutal way that it's confusing to see both at once. It's like seeing a Cybertruck.
Are they mailing it in, or are they just bad?
Hey, fair. Maybe it's tough to separate that sometimes, I think.
Like
Toronto's not mailing it in. They're just bad.
Yeah, and I think that's what's happening around the league is we went from a situation where there hasn't been parity in the league for so long that nobody knows how to be good anymore. Like if you look at and I don't mean to be
shift in the money rules, right?
I don't mean to be an old head, but you look at the 90s when anybody could win a title. The Bulls were hot. The Jazz were there. The Pacers were there. The Knicks were there. There was a list of umpteen teams that had a shot, a legitimate shot at winning a title. And then we went through a period of 10 years where it was either going to be the Warriors or the Cavs for 10 years. And
those are the Rolling Stones. Yeah.
And the league just forgot how to be competitive. And now you look at the conference that we went through the Eastern Conference standings last week. They were pitiful.
Not good. Not good.
So when you say are they mailing it in? Yeah, they could be mailing it in, or are they just bad?
Yeah, that's actually a good open-ended question that I do not have the answer to because there's a lot of mixed things going on in the NBA, and a lot of it seems to be due to things that aren't about basketball,
As a matter of fact, for the people listening and watching this podcast right now, in the comments, if you're still listening at 3225, please, are these teams mailing it in or are they just bad? I want to know what people think.
You know who's not mailing it in or bad is the Detroit Pistons this year, who are playing, I think, is it tonight or tomorrow night, to see if they're going to win their group for the NBA Cup.
Well, there's no game. That'll be Friday night. Friday night.
That's right. Yeah. Okay.
It's Tuesdays and Fridays. And also, I know this will be out of date in like 3 days.
Playing the Pacers.
Yeah. But
there's two teams that are excellent versions of this. Might be changing of what we're talking about is that it might finally be turning around a bit. Is that the superstar model of LA and whoever else with the just two biggest players? It might be passé now because when you look at Shea and his team, it's by committee. You look at Golden State's current model, everything's by committee. It's like there's a clear queen bee, but there's a fucking hive of people knowing their roles and thriving in their roles.
That was my whole question before we started the podcast. Is this better for the NBA than having a big three? I think it is.
Because I think so. There's some way more exciting games.
Because what used to happen is I used to think, okay, I'm waiting for June. I'm waiting for one series in June. I don't think that way anymore. Because I used to know that it was going to be the Cavs and the Warriors. So why bother watching anything else? And it affected my enjoyment of the game.
Man, so true. Do you feel there's a bit of that going with Boston right now in the East, in that there's an excitement going that there's, well, maybe because of Cleveland off to such a hot start, it's not as foregone a conclusion, but there's definitely a feeling that Boston's in the league of their own right now. That nothing is ruining anything, but it's like, whoa, they are.
Like you're gonna have to prove over a 7-game series you can beat them. That's how they're viewed right now.
And that's how they're playing right now. That's impressive, and they've gone all in, and it's nice to see their role players being some of the reasons why, right? It's not just because Jaylen Brown and Tatum are balling out of their minds. No, because every guy down that bench, from Pritchard to who's the other guy there? Um, they've got a couple of real role playing types, and they are thriving. Pritchard's put in multiple 20-point games. Pritchard.
Yeah, they're gonna be the kings of the East for sure. And as a Laker fan, that hurts my feelings to say that as a Laker fan.
Yeah. Do you feel like LeBron's got enough in the tank? The last few fourth quarters have been tough to watch, honestly. Just like his physical self is. It's feeling the heat. It's feeling the heat, bro.
There's a reason Father Time is undefeated.
That's it. You're supposed to dance with time, not try to fight him, right?
And also, if you remember, this guy here, who's a big Lakers fan, said we'd either be a lottery team or a play-in team. And
playing it in.
And based on what I saw last night, we lost by 27 to the Suns, and then we beat the Spurs tonight by 17. So which team is going to show up for the Lakers? I think, I still think we're going to be a play-in team. I don't think the Lakers are strong enough. And here's the thing. I don't think the Lakers are consistent enough to carry the top 6 seed through 82 games in the West. I think the West
that's fair assessment, man.
I think the West is too deep, and I think the East is too weak. And I think that's where the Lakers are going to pick up most of their wins, is against the Eastern Conference or against the bottom teams in the West, like the San Antonio Spurs and, those types of teams at the bottom of the Western Conference. I don't think the Lakers are going to do so well against teams like the Thunder and, even the Warriors will give them a tough time. But I think against the upper echelon of the Western Conference, the Lakers might get cooked on a nightly basis. And if you need proof, they just lost by 27 to the Suns. And we pointed out the flaws of the Suns, didn't we, just a while back?
I mean, when they've got their stars cooking, it's great. But their flaws are their flaws, and it's almost insurmountable because they're living on borrowed time on everything. It's like, that's not a team you can bet on whatsoever. If they stay healthy, miracle. We'll see what happens. But it's. I mean, right now you could say that's a fair loss because the Phoenix is a really good squad when they're healthy.
But this is my honest assessment of my team, and the reason I can give that is because, like I told you before, nobody watches this team more than I do.
Yeah. Do you think there's going to be moves to be made? If you were sitting there with Rob Pelinka, would you be ready to make some suggestions or moves towards what would actually be doable for this year if you were looking to win?
It depends, because are we serious about winning, or are we gonna be content to hold on to our draft pick and build our cupboard back up? Because there's two ways you can go with this. If we're going to be a play-in team and we're not going to make moves, then we should just hang on to our draft pick. But if there's a move out there that makes us, and hear me when I say this, that makes a significant impact on the roster, then I think you're going to go for it.
Yeah, they're in the apron, right?
But here's the worst thing you can do. If the Raptors call Pelinka up, and I'm just using this as an example, I'm not saying this is going to happen. I got no inside sources or anything. But if the Raptors call you up and go, hey, we want a first-round pick for, what's the guy's name that makes $20 million I always complain about? The big guy we have. Jakob Poeltl.
Dude, he's a gem compared to Bruce Brown making $23 million.
We'll get to that in a minute. But I'm just gonna finish my
Dude,
story here.
Quickly's 32 million. Drew Holiday makes less than Quickly, by the way. Sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
These Raptors are making way too much money. But if Pelinka gets a phone call from the Raptors and the Raptors said we want a first round pick for Jakob Poeltl, and he goes, yeah, I think that'll help my team. He's insane. And that's
you're saying.
If you're gonna make a move, make a drastic move, I would rather you take a swing and miss or stand pat. Don't make a middle of the road move that's not going to make a big impact just so you can say you made a move. If you're going to make a move, go get a Zach LaVine.
But who are you going to trade for if you're in the apron and it has to be salary for salary? I didn't realize that rule. Maybe they're not in the apron.
That's what I'm saying, though. If you can't make the move, don't make any move.
Because but wouldn't that go against the argument of getting away from the superstar model? Like, why not get a couple of role players that could make the difference down the line of like a 3-point specialist?
Because we're not that good.
A Gasol type.
Because we're not that good.
But would you be that good if you added a Bruce Brown, a Poeltl?
No.
And yeah.
It's that Nelly interview. You should see better than you hear. And I keep bringing that up. You should see better than you hear. If I get Jakob Poeltl at the trade deadline, I'm be pissed because I've seen Jakob Poeltl. I know what he is. He's not what
he's as consistent a big man as you could find right now.
Yeah, but he doesn't move the needle. He doesn't.
But I think this is the thing. It's going to be micro things that move the needle because it's not necessarily the big three anymore that makes the difference. It's by committee. It's Buddy Hield. It's Kyle Anderson, and it's the four guys they added there. It's like that made all the difference for them was role players, all guys under $10 million, and it made all the difference for Golden State.
The Lakers are different because you have to understand. You have to have an insurance policy in case LeBron or AD goes out. You cannot have a situation where you pick up a no disrespect, but a Quigley, bring him into LA, and then have AD go down and go, well, we tried. We gotta piece around the edges. You have to make a move that ensures that the Lakers are competitive, even if one of those other two go out. The Lakers are in a different spot.
Yeah, I think they're a good example of a team like Philly that's screwed in that their two biggest stars are making so much money that what are you going to do outside of that, man? Like, you can't make any more moves.
But that's my whole point. If you can't make the move, don't make any move. Because if you bring in somebody like we have enough role players. How many Hachimuras, how many, Vincents, and how many D'Angelo Russells do you need before you're just walking around with LeBron, AD, and 10 other guys that are all role players? You need to ensure that when one of those two goes out, you can still be competitive on a nightly basis. So if you can't take that big swing, don't take any swing because it's not worth it in the long-term health of the franchise.
Yeah.
See, if you go get me a Zach LaVine, and we fail or we come up short somehow, at least I can say, well, my guy took a swing. If you go bring me a Jakob Poeltl, I'm like, we have 7 of him. Why do we need another one? We have 7. We have LeBron, we have AD, and then we'll have 7 Jakob Poeltls.
You'd be lucky to have 7 Jakobs. Let's say this, okay? I'm going to go down for go to town for my guy Jakob here. He's the only one keeping the Raptors from being an embarrassment this season.
I'm
It's
not saying
RJ
that
is
he's not.
not an efficient player. Scotty Barnes has not played this season. I don't know where he is. You know what I mean? Jakob Poeltl's the only thing keeping the franchise respectable right now. So I know he's not king anything, but I also want to give the man his flowers for yeah, he's not probably going to move the dial. I'll give you that for a Lakers championship. But as far as role players are concerned, not all are made the same, and I know that's sometimes the myth. And I think that's my whole point of the star power thing is I think the myth of all role players being equal is the fallacy. Like it's the thing that people miss because it's not. That's what happened to Denver. They let go of Bruce Brown, KCP, everybody that was those linchpin players to their championship, and they haven't been anywhere near what they were.
You
Think
know,
about Jakob right now. He wasn't this good about 6 months ago, but for last start of the
no,
season, he has been
that's not what I'm
consistent
saying.
as F,
That's
you know.
not that's
And
not
I
what
know you
I'm
weren't. I
saying.
was just giving him building on that just to give him his flowers on top of the fact that no, I understand he's probably not going to move
I
the
appreciate that.
dial.
But the way the Lakers have to operate right now is it has to be LeBron, AD, and one other guy. It doesn't matter whether it's AR-15. It doesn't matter whether it's Westside Connect or D'Lo or any other guy on the roster you want to name, whether it be Hachimura or somebody. Huh?
Are they in the second apron?
They're in the B bracket, I think.
Like for salaries, so it's like if you're in the second apron to trade anybody, there's some sort of weird thing. So I think there's a lot of good deals they could make, like we were saying, Levine or Kyrie, if they could do a big swap.
But
Nobody's probably looking to help the Lakers either, right?
If you can't take a big swing, don't take a swing. Because we're not good enough.
Lakers, yeah.
We're not good enough right now unless we take a big swing.
You know who would make, or the team that Jakob Poeltl would make a difference, like I think does turn the dial for their championship hopes, would be somebody like OKC, who's lost their big guy and didn't really have much of a presence in the middle to begin with. They need a young, professional, no nonsense, sacrifice it for the team type of guy that shows up consistently.
I want to make
I'd take their draft picks for that.
I want to make this clear because I've dished on Jakob in the past. I'm not dishing on Jakob right now. What I'm saying is that's not what the Lakers need. And as a fan,
that's fair.
And as a fan, if you can't go and get me what I need, hang on to that draft pick and get it later.
Yeah, because it is all or nothing for them right now, right? Like they've got to go all in on something right now. No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. And right now, I'm being honest, we're either a lottery team or a play-in team. And we don't have the horses to compete right now.
On either side, right? If you think about the NBA standings, I'm going to pull them up right now. If you're aiming for a lottery pick, there's always going to be some stiff competition at the bottom from your Wizards. The Wizards of how can you be that bad? 2-15 for the Wizards.
The Wizards are
they should
always
not
bad.
Be allowed. It's anyways. We don't.
Are you going to bring up the relegation argument again? Are you going to bring up the relegation?
That's it. It's like I'm just going to say they're lovable. They're the lovable screw ups of the NBA family, and that's all. It's okay.
That was the Charlotte Hornets for a long time.
Now they are. Boy, Rockets are second right now. Shout out to the Rockets.
By the way,
Thunder, Warriors.
The Lakers picked up another dub tonight as well.
Who was that against? San Antonio?
Against San Antonio, yeah.
Oh, they might be a play-in team this year. Boy, Timberwolves sitting in 12th. That's not good for them, man.
Well, the Timberwolves are a gong show, and I can't wait to tell people I told you so. because I said the Timberwolves weren't going to be as good as people thought they were going to be, because the Timberwolves are never as good as people thought they were going to be.
You'd think eventually something's going to break through for them, and I think it's going to be when he finally gets a mentor sorts like
There's
LaMelo
a
Ball.
reason.
It's only going to
There's
be
a
as good
reason
until
I
he
say the
gets.
Clip. There's a reason I say Clippers do Clipper things. It's the same thing in Minnesota. They've been around for 30 years now, and it's like being Homer Simpson and betting on that 99-1 Santa's little helper at the dog track. You know you shouldn't do it, but you're just living on a prayer. You know.
Hey, sometimes Santa's little helper might just be the one last standing, eh?
Have you seen that episode? He doesn't win. I hate to break it to you.
I always turn it off before the end. No, the comment. I'm
I'm a
looking at the
Simpsons guy,
standings
dude.
right now. No, yeah. Do you got any surprises that are sticking out to you so far this year?
I'm actually surprised the Bucks are as bad as they've been. I thought, at least even with the amount of talent they have on their team, they'd be a lot better, especially in that weaker Eastern Conference. As a matter of fact, I'm going to show the Bucks a little love and say they will be a playoff team by year's end.
Yeah, they're looking like they're on the trajectory of that, hey? But I mean, they're one twist of the knee away.
I believe. No, I didn't say they'd be a high seed. I simply said they'll be a playoff team by year's end.
Given the nature of the Eastern Conference, yeah.
Because I still don't believe in the Bucks at all.
Yo, we've been saving the best for last for Rolla.
Yes, we have. And we might as well end
Pacers.
the show on.
Have they outpaced themselves? Yeah.
Have the Pacers outpaced themselves? And Rolla, this one's for you because you gave us this idea. It's the Tyrese Halliburton segment of the show.
Yo, who's going in on him first?
I will succeed the floor to you, my good sir, because you probably have the stats in front of you as we speak.
No, I just have a very vivid memory of him last year at the All-Star game in Indiana, looking like he had done something, if you know what I mean. Like he was acting like he was. We talked about this earlier. Like he acted like he was better than everybody else, and in a way that wasn't obvious. But he was like, "It's my city. It's the All-Star game. I'm the next one up." And he hasn't done anything at this point. Anything. And he was looking like kind of acting like he's the cool king of the NBA. And I was like,
you know,
face the consequence of this attitude thing that I'm just, tiny little fly on the wall of that moment in time. But there was a vibe that I was like, I've seen him shoot like that too, where he's just shooting like he doesn't give an F. And it's just like,
I have an interesting
I don't know if you're a winner.
Yeah. I have an interesting comparison that you made me think of when you brought this up. You know who it reminds me of? Remember when Evan Turner first got to Philly? He was a high draft pick, and he was playing well. And Evan Turner's like, huh? And Evan Turner was like, I'm that dude. And then he kind of vanished off the face of the earth, and he bounced around the league. That's kind of what it's looking like right now. But honestly, Tyrese Halliburton, I don't know what's going on with him. It's a really weird thing to go from being an all-star to being like, what happened to you, guy? I believe he can turn it around. You know what I think might be missing? And this will be the take that I probably take a lot of crap for. But I think Buddy Hield missing in Indiana makes a huge difference. Because, and the reason I say that is because Buddy Hield's ability to spread the floor opened up the rest of the gym for Tyrese Halliburton and Pascal Siakam.
Big time, man. Big time. I think you're so on the money on that. It's the key. It's Pascal doesn't work next to just another ball heavy guy. It's why Randall and Edwards don't work together. It's the reason Scotty and RJ don't work together. It's just like, wonder if this will work. It's like
There's only one
that's never
ball.
worked. Yeah, like those two skill sets never complement each other when it's I have to dribble and create and suck all the energy this way to succeed. Like Pascal needs that to be
Carmelo had the same
effective or
problem.
on the break.
Carmelo had the same problem. Carmelo was an
Yeah.
ISO ball player in an era where the ISO ball was obsolete.
It's like the ball's too it moves too fast otherwise, and Pacers are built on just moving that sucker as fast as possible. And it slows down sometimes with Pascal once if it's not a fast break, right? If it's into the slow offense thing, half court offense, it really slows down. And I haven't watched
Yeah,
enough of them this
and they
season
don't
to know, but
and they don't have a Buddy
yeah,
Hield to they don't have a Buddy Hield to
dude.
stretch out the floor.
I'm gonna say that guy's maybe the most underappreciated, underpaid guy in the NBA these days because he is coming into this season with more. He was the only guy with more threes last year or something than Steph or some wild number that he was like, he's the 3-point king. And he's making $10 million. And he's like a team oriented guy. You never see somebody light their team up more like success wise. Like he's on the bench and he's fired up for the other bench guys that are in there. He's not being sour about a thing.
I'll
Let's give
tell you
Buddy
why.
Hield some flowers here, man.
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you exactly why. It's because when Buddy first got to the league, he really struggled. And I'm not saying that to disparage Buddy in any way, shape, or form. But when he got to the league, he really struggled. And unfortunately, in this league, it's the first impression that really sticks with you. Because I'll take it even a step further. Look at Steph. How long did it take Steph to dispel the ankle? He was known as the ankle broken guy because he kept getting hurt. How many years did it take Steph to finally shake that image? And Buddy Hield struggled so mightily when he first got to the league that's the image that people have of Buddy in their head right now because not everybody has league pass. So they don't get to see him play every night.
Yo, that makes sense.
Does that make sense?
A shame. Yeah, and it's a shame because he's such a difference maker if you look at what he's done for the Warriors compared to what Clay was able to do at this point in his career. It's the exact thing that he was doing for the Pacers that was making them, even somewhat
Buddy Hield was drafted, 12th? And he struggled out the gate.
He was always that kind of guy that, was thought of the other way, like never saw his potential, was like, overrated. And I think it's the complete opposite now. This dude is like a guy you want on your team if you want to win.
It's that first, because you remember the first couple of years Buddy was in the league, he couldn't hit that 3-point shot. His mid-range game wasn't where it should have been. And he really struggled coming out the gate. And so that's the image that people have of Buddy. It's like Steph now. Steph could struggle for weeks and they'd be like, but that's Steph. Because the image they have of Steph in their head is still the Steph Curry of 2016, 2017, who could knock down any shot you could think of.
Big time. There's always that crossroads with that much adversity up against it, man. Which way are you going to go? Are you going to use it to somehow get better, or is it going to go the other way? And
look at Clay's
examples of that.
I'll give you another example. Look at Clay's improvement in Dallas. It hasn't led to team success, but Clay's playing better in Dallas. But the last image, but the last image they have of him is being a scrub for 2 years in Golden State. So he's got to work to shed that image.
Yeah, dude, exactly that. And I think being under the radar is working for Hield in that way that of the Warriors are now. So many tools in the belt, they're not even showing all their cards. They just keep playing their effective cards in that sort of like tight knit because they've got so many effective pieces that work together, all bought in like that. And it's a good model for other teams to look at the way they've built that thing with like Gary Payton, Podziemski, Like down the line, the role players are different. They're just different.
And I'll even call myself out on this. I have two different variations of how I look at LeBron. I look at LeBron, the basketball player. I'm thinking, gee, this guy's on my team. This is great. But as soon as you put a microphone in his face, I'm thinking, please don't let this schmuck talk. Please don't let him talk. Because LeBron has a habit of saying something, whether he means to or not. Because sometimes he doesn't mean to, and sometimes he does. But even when he doesn't mean to, he says something in such a way that people will take it the wrong way, myself included, and we will bury him for it, and his reputation suffers because of it. So I'm just as guilty of this two versions of somebody that you see, because LeBron James is magnificent on the basketball court, not so magnificent in front of a microphone. They should never let LeBron talk in front of my microphone. That's just my opinion, because he's going to say something that people can use against him later.
I relearned that lesson the hard way through the pocketbook.
But as far as Tyrese Halliburton goes, yeah, man. I still believe in Tyrese. I still think he can turn it around. I just think it's going to be more difficult without that. Now, if Indiana goes out and gets a guy who can spread the floor, you might see the old Indiana Pacers. And that could be what turns Tyrese around. But right now, he just doesn't look like the all-star we know he can be. But people forget.
I think it's fair. Somebody got paid. Just not to be cynical about it, but there's always that question. The guy gets his bag and now he's no good. It's like
this is why I brought up the Buddy Hield thing, though, because Buddy didn't get any credit. But look, when you can't space the floor, everybody gets worse.
Man, and talk about earning your wage. Like, I can think of guys, that are making nowhere near that, or sorry, triple that, half that, double that, and just nobody makes that kind of difference, man. He's a difference maker, and I think it's both attitude and ability on Hield's part, because he wasn't a young scrub type of thing. He was a guy that carried with him a battle-tested, adversity-faced energy that a young team thrives on, a la Freddie VanVleet, $40 million to bring in that energy. You had Buddy Hield for under 10, and you could have had that type of energy around, right?
I'll put a Lakers spin on this even if you want me to, just so you know I'm not being biased. Look what happened to the Lakers when we lost Caruso. When we lost Caruso, that's when the Lakers' fortunes really seemed to change. Because even though he wasn't a flashy guy, he was the linchpin of the defense.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I mean. The Pacers are a run and gun, score at will team. And without that Buddy Hield type player to spread the floor for them and open it up for Pascal and Tyrese Halliburton, I don't think the Pacers are as effective as they could be. So maybe Tyrese is. I do know that he got paid, but maybe Tyrese's struggles aren't really based on money, but spacing that he doesn't have anymore now that Buddy Hield has gone to the Warriors.
Here's something your guy Shaq would say, though, to that. You don't need somebody to space the floor for you. You make the floor space. You get guys better by being the best. If you are that dude, which he's getting paid to be, if you're Tyrese Halliburton, if you're that dude, you change the game. You don't need somebody to come cradle you and fix the thing for you, and maybe you need this. It's like, no. You make it happen just by the nature of how good you can be by accelerating your game, not just by being complacent and average. And I think Shaq's so harsh on that sometimes, but I'm more and more like, yeah, that's actually a cool attitude to have towards it. Like, he doesn't need to have it. If he's supposed to be that guy, he should be that guy. If he's not that guy, then get sitting beside Pascal and all the other guys that are in the Robin seat, right? Like, if you're going to be Batman, you got to be able to change the Gotham City by your own two hands, and then have Robin and Alfred.
Okay, so does that make Kevin Durant a Robin then?
No, he's gonna be Batman. He's
No, he's
KD.
not.
He's
No, he's
no,
not
no, no.
because
He's
no,
KD's
he's
not
not
Batman.
because he can't change the fortune of the city.
He's he's a villain. Just don't know
See,
which one.
see, by your logic, that doesn't make any sense.
For being able to change the game, I think you just have to be the
It's
star. You have to be able to
because then
demand
we have to
attention. He's not making his guys better around him. He needs guys
we
to
have
make better around him.
because now the way you have it, we have to put that pressure on Scotty. We have to put that pressure on
Yes,
KD.
yes. And Scotty, is he going to be the biggest bust in Raptors history? What did he do?
No, that's Rafael Arujo. That will
Dude,
forever
we
be
can't have
Rafael.
another bust at this stage in the game.
There's
Can't have
a
another
reason we
bust.
call him Leadfoot Hoffa.
Dude, what would you be most excited about Scotty Barnes's game right now? What aspect gets you excited?
The fact that he'd probably come back soon.
But like, what about his basketball game? Like, what about his what he brings to the floor?
I'm gonna defend Scotty here
because he's not an offensive player. He's not an elite playmaker.
They paid him too soon.
Yes.
Oops. That's not Scotty's fault.
Yes, I don't know. If you're signing the name on the sheet that says I will be the leader star player and do everything because there's game after game he doesn't take the hat. It's like to put on the hat.
Every time I hammer Kevin, and I keep going back to this because it's the easiest example, there's always a defensive Kevin. And why does he get a pass when we expect Scotty to be that dude when we don't expect Kevin to be that dude? That doesn't
expect him to be that dude.
That doesn't expect the math ain't mathing in my head is what I'm saying.
I'll help you then. I can tell you 3 things off the top of my head that KD does that I get excited about. Like, oh, he is one of the most efficient clutch shooters. No, because of what he does on the floor. If you ask me what does Scotty do on the floor that like, oh man, he's the best finisher. No, he's the most athletic. Like, no, he doesn't have a special thing. He's not even good across the board on the things. He's just average.
That's Kevin Durant's special thing, being injured.
Bro, you can't come at me with KD.
See, you keep telling me he's that dude, but every time he has a chance to be that dude, he doesn't finish the deal. You're changing the expectation.
I don't need to defend KD. He's got enough.
You're changing the expectation depending upon the player. That's what I'm upset about. Because
the expectation's the same. Be the Batman. And if you're being paid to be Batman,
if he's that dude, he got to be able to change Gotham by himself. And KD hasn't done that ever.
That's okay then. He's not expected necessarily to be, is he? When he was with Steph, he's not the number one there.
Though. So you can't change the rule based on the player.
But he changes the game every time he steps on the floor. Scotty doesn't make a fucking difference.
He doesn't change the city.
Yes, he does.
No, he doesn't.
There's a reason that people lined up to try to beg for him to come to the city. We had a chance to send Scotty Barnes, and we didn't. That's the dumbest thing of all time.
Oklahoma, nothing. Brooklyn, nothing.
Again, the standard that you're holding him to is higher than anybody and everywhere, and it's just the wrong guy to pick on right now when it's Scotty that's the one that's making.
No, it's not because Brooklyn, nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Would you put that all on him?
Yes.
You'd put a pandemic and Ben Simmons. You'd put a pandemic and Ben Simmons on him.
Did you choose to go there?
Not during a pandemic or Ben Simmons.
You choose to go there.
Yeah, but again, it's not all on him. What happens around you? You can make
See,
a difference without having
that's
success.
what I'm
Like, he
upset
still
about.
changed the
Is
game.
the goalposts seem to change when it comes to certain players?
No, bro, it's the same. KD
Everybody's
earns
gotta
his
be
money.
held to the same standard.
Scotty ain't doing it yet. Once he's
Neither
he's
has
in the GOAT
KD.
conversation.
KD's nowhere near the GOAT conversation, first of all. Not even close. And if you put him there, I'm gonna laugh at you.
Bro, I'm gonna just have to maybe call it there. We're above our hour, but I'm just gonna tell you, man.
I'm just saying.
If it's right now, if you're saying Scotty's got more reason to be proud of the basketball that he's played this year or any moment in his life, it's nowhere even in the conversation.
Hold him to the same standard you hold every other franchise player. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, no problem. That's not even what the issue
but
is.
The
what I'm saying
seem to change when it comes to KD somehow.
No, I feel like that's just for you. I don't have any special thing. Like Tyrese Halliburton, where are you at? Scotty Barnes, where are you at? Let's go down the list. I got no problem calling people out.
When Embiid fails, done. When Kawhi fails, done. But when it comes to Kevin, it seems to be, it's not his fault. Can't blame him for this. Can't blame him for that. Why? Why is he not held to the same standard of a Joel Embiid or Kawhi Leonard? Why?
Bro, because they're not in the same league. That's just it. They're just not. It's a clown show versus the fucking Hall of Fame. If you want to debate the clown show versus the Hall of Fame, go for it. But KD's in the Hall of Fame as a proper fucking legend of legends of legends. The most decorated Olympian.
Scottie Pippen's in the Hall of Fame.
Is he the most decorated Olympian in American basketball history? Is he the most decorated Olympian in American basketball history, being the leader on the team multiple Olympics in a row?
He's not the leader. There's 11 other Hall of Famers on those teams.
Dude, they don't have as many gold medals as he does. No one does.
I'm just not. Olympic basketball, you're supposed to win.
And
take it to the court that matters. Take it to the court that matters.
All right, two-time NBA Finals MVP work for you, two-time NBA champion, 14-time NBA All-Star, two-time NBA All-Star Game MVP, six-time All-NBA First Team, five-time All-NBA Second Team, NBA Rookie of the Year, NBA All-Rookie First Team, four-time NBA Scoring Champion. Did those work for you?
Those are numbers.
Yeah, those are game-changing, city-changing numbers. MVP,
because
two-time champion. I don't know what other numbers you're looking for, brother.
Okay, here's some numbers. You had a 3-1 lead. You had your neck. You had your foot on the throat of the tiger. Tiger comes back and eats you. Then you go and join the tiger. That's a punk move.
I just don't follow. I think that's a weak take. It's an old take.
That's not a weak take. That's facts. That's 100% facts, dude. It happened.
I don't have anything else to really argue on
beat
here.
The Tigers,
we're just on completely other ends of the spectrum here, man. You're not going to convince me, and I'm not going to convince you. I think that one's fair.
Here's what I'm going to say.
We're just on the different page on this.
Here's what I'm going to say. He left Oklahoma, played with Golden State. Everywhere else he's gone, absolutely nothing. That's my take.
Except that he's been much more than there would have been without him. Much more. Whereas, I don't think there would be a difference between Scotty and some other schmo.
He's a Robin. That's it. He's not Batman.
All right. We just completely other end of the spectrum on that.
I've
made the two-time NBA Finals. And no, you don't have. Well, I guess you have a point. You have your opinion, but
I'm just looking at what's in front of me, dude. I'm not looking at.
I'm looking at a two-time NBA Finals MVP, NBA Most Valuable Player, 14-time NBA All-Star. These are
Had him up
difference-making.
Had him up 3-1. Had possibly the greatest point guard statistically to ever.
Is there a athlete you
Listen to
can
me.
think of that hasn't had a disappointing moment in their
Not to
career?
go
Do you
play for
think
the other
Michael
team.
Jordan's ever made a mistake? Do you think they've ever had losses? Do you think
Not
Kobe
to go
Bryant's
play
ever
for the
missed
other
a
team.
shot?
Magic
Of course
Johnson
they
never
have.
lost to Larry and said, "Larry, I'm coming to Boston."
I don't know if that's the same comparison. So you're
It's
saying
the
he was as good as you're saying he's Magic Johnson then? All right,
No,
that's a
what I'm
difference
saying
maker. That's
is
Batman. No, you're
what
saying he's Magic Johnson.
no, what I'm saying is Magic never said, "Larry, I'm coming to play with you with my tail between
But
my
if
legs."
he's not Magic, then why does that matter?
You beat
So you're
me
saying he's Magic in this?
because Magic's a Batman.
Well, then why are you comparing him to KD?
Because Kevin is a Robin. Kevin's a number 2.
Then why are you comparing
Kevin's not
them?
a number 1 guy. I'm showing you the
comparing
difference
him
between
as.
the two. Showing you the difference between the two. There's no way Magic would have went to go play. There's no way Magic would have went to go play with Larry.
But in this analogy, you're saying Kevin Durant's Magic Johnson.
What I'm saying is Magic.
You can't have it both ways. You can't have him not be Magic, but also Magic. That doesn't make any sense. So in this analogy, he's Magic, but he can't be Magic. So
no,
I don't
he's not
understand.
Magic. That's my point.
Okay, then it doesn't matter if Magic would ever go to play with Larry Bird because he's not Magic.
But KD went. KD tucked tail and ran.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean he's.
Tail and ran.
You could call it that.
There's
a lot of people will.
There's no more damning evidence than you tucked tail and ran to the team that beat you and you had them up 3-1.
I don't know, man. It's again just an old school take on somebody that just continues to give to the game more and more, and is just an all-time winner.
Oh no, he's just a hooper. Leave him alone, right?
I'm just calling it as it is, man. You're going so aggressive on this one guy, and I'm just telling you, man, he's not on the list of people that are eating up the league's quality time here. He's one of the most fun, exciting, legendary players to watch, and that's just facts. It's just the eye test.
You think he's going to lead the Suns to a title?
No, but I do know he's going to get them a lot closer than if he wasn't on the team.
Well, shoot, if I played horseshoes, I might win a game or two. Doesn't mean I'm the go-to horseshoes.
If you have a resume like him, you might be.
It's just the standard that bugs me, dude. That's all.
Well, if anybody can hold his number of standards, like he holds himself to such a high degree of efficiency and success.
The standard for him seems to change based solely on the fact that he's playing with Stephen Clay.
It's just a shame. No, it's a shame that just to hate on somebody that's a true craftsman and actually cares when there's so many jokers out there like Tyrese Halliburton that aren't giving themselves to the game, that aren't doing anything for the game, and you're coming down on the guy that's given his life to the.
If you're going to hold everybody to the standard, then you hold him to the same standard. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and he's still above the rest. There's one or two guys in the league that has a better resume than him, that makes more of a difference than him, that's given more to the game than him. And he's like the top 3. It's him,
given more to
Steph,
the game,
and LeBron. It's 3 guys in the last 20 years.
Are you serious? Okay. We disagree on that, but okay.
All right, you roll with Tyrese and Scotty. I'll roll with KD.
I'm not rolling with them. I'm not rolling
with them. We'll see who has the
I'm saying hold
better
KD
resume
to
at the end of this.
Standard. I'm not rolling
he's
with
exceeding theirs. He's certainly exceeding theirs by a fucking long shot. He's got better numbers than them both put together.
Second round failure.
We're talking present day.
This is present day. When did the Suns go out last year?
I don't know what we're talking about. I don't know why we're doing this.
Second round.
I don't.
The Suns went out in the second round last year, correct? Or was it the third?
Did the Pacers get to the NBA Finals? I don't remember. Did they?
But this is a pattern.
Did Scotty Barnes make?
This is a pattern with KD. Even in Brooklyn, second round. there's a pattern of these things with Katie, but for some reason,
Wasn't it a shoe size?
Because of his Golden State resume, he gets a pass. I don't understand.
Dude, it was
that.
A shoe size with Brooklyn in one of the
he
most
lost in the first. If I'm not mistaken, that was a first round.
The grace that you give him is pretty harsh, man. Where I don't understand.
Because everybody moves the goalpost for Katie, and I don't understand why.
I don't see any of that. They're just like, I don't see any of that, man.
I see it.
Who's being held to a higher standard?
Because you said that to be that dude, you have to run Gotham City. He does never run Gotham City. He's always a passenger.
Dude, I'm just saying that Scotty and Tyrese are not making their money, and they're both being young chumps that are getting paid more than they're fucking playing worth.
Not their fault.
That's all I'm saying. If you have evidence to say otherwise, show it, but it's nothing to do with KD.
That's not their fault.
Oh God, man, we have to end this conversation.
See,
I do have to go. I do have to go though.
I hear you. It's probably my bedtime anyway. But I'm just saying, I don't like the grace that everybody else gives the all wonderful KD, because he really hasn't done anything to earn it. But anyway,
man, when you start watching basketball again, let me know and we'll chat. But goddamn, man,
for G,
sometimes you just go so far off, man. It's like, where are we even going here? What are we talking about?
It's not so
if he does anything for the game, it's like
you said
there's 3 people in the world that have done what he's done, and it's not even a debate. It's just, what are we talking about here, man?
You said he's a Batman. I don't view him that way. That's all. I think he's a Robin, and there's nothing wrong with that. Scotty got 6 rings being a Robin.
Not Scotty Barnes, to tell you that much.
Well, I wasn't referring. I don't think Scotty's going to win a ring. If we're talking about that, Scotty.
Well, that's what we've been talking about trying to talk about the whole time, was Tyrese Halliburton and Scotty Barnes being examples of young guys that don't have any impact on their city's success whatsoever, and that's a problem. If you have an impact, I'll pipe down, but until you have an impact, like, step up, man. You're making as much money as anybody. You should step up. So that's the standard. Kevin Durant's making an impact. That's all I'm saying. Make an actual impact. If you're making impact money, you should be making impacts according to your money. At least Luka's making his impact. It's not great, but he's making his numbers. He's doing his Luka.
Well, he went to the NBA Finals last year.
Yeah, he's doing something for the extreme amount of money that he's getting, whereas these other guys, man, I think, need to be held to a higher standard, because they're not taking care of the game in the same ways that guys like KD have done for 17 years.
That's what I mean. Like, KD gets up. Never mind. I'm not. I think
he's somebody that improves his efficiency every year because he wants to be better than himself than he was last year. There's so few guys that are doing that right now that it's a shame to shit on the guy that's actually trying to get himself and the game just constantly better, right? And it's like, no, those are the people we should celebrate if we get the chance, because they're actually doing what we like to see, is grow and get better and become, better at whatever it is you're good at. Nobody's going to be perfect, but man, there's guys that are just not doing any of that. Scotty Barnes hasn't gotten better. You know what I'm saying? And he's being paid money to be shown like he's getting better.
This is the same reason that's the same reason I get mad at Jakob for making $20 million. But
he's getting better. Again, it's another person that just takes care of the craft more than anything and gets better. And that's who we're going to crap on? It's like, no, man, these are the people that are doing what we respect. It's like, work on your thing and grow quietly. They're not being loud about it. They're just taking care of their craft and showing up consistently. Bro, I'll fucking leave it there.
getting the coach fired in Brooklyn, leaving your little brother in Oklahoma, running to the team that beat you. Yeah, pretty good resume.
Whatever world.
But
whatever makes you happy, my friend.
Until next time, again, happy Thanksgiving. Don't forget to drop a like and subscribe. We'll be back next week after G cools down and that look on his face puts a smile on it. But G, you know I love you. We just differ on the opinion as far as KD goes. And
as far as we could. As far as one could.
Until next week. May your ego come from a place that keeps you humble. For the Bistro of Basketball Knowledge, G, I'm Mo Money. And Mamba out.